Hi friends, how are you doing? I hope that you're all doing good. Let's start the third science lecture video by reviewing what we said about trees, shrubs, and herbs, and also about cultivated and wild plants. So, according to their size and to the type of their stems, scientists classified plants into three different groups. The first group of plants belongs to the plants with a large size, with a woody stem called a trunk, and plants that are perennial. These plants are regarded as trees. Shrubs is the second group of plants. These plants are medium in size, they have many woody stems, and they're also perennial. Herbs are small in size. They have green, hollow, tender stems, and they are not perennial. These types of plants, actually all plants have special needs. They need sunlight, they need air, they need water and minerals to grow. When man provides these needs to the plant, when he cares for the plant, we consider the plant as a cultivated plant. When the plant grows in the wild, in the nature, and gets all of its needs from its surrounding, we call it and consider it as a wild plant. Scientists noticed also that some plants do not make flowers at all, like the fern plant, like mosses, like cedar trees. So these plants don't bloom, they don't grow flowers at all. Some others grow flowers, they bloom, and they grow flowers with different shapes, different colors, different smells, like tulips, sunflowers, apple flowers, orchids. So, in the next slides, we'll be talking about flowering plants. Flowering plants are plants that grow seeds in their flowers, but which flowers parts help the flower do seeds? Let's give the names of some of the flower's parts, and then we'll talk about the way this flower makes and produces seeds. How do we call the colored part of a flower? Petal. Excellent. What do we call the leaf-like structure that protects the bud? The sepal. Perfect. What about this part? This part is the male reproductive organ. It's the boy in the flower, and it's called the stamen. The stamen consists of two different parts, the anther and the filament. Excellent, guys. Let's talk about the female reproductive part called the pistil or the carpel. How many parts is the pistil made of? 3 parts. Excellent. The stigma, the style, and the ovary. What's the function of the petals? Petals are the colored parts of the flower. They usually have a beautiful smell, and this is for attracting pollinators. The sepals, which are the leaf-like structures, they help protecting the flower when it's still young and small and when it's a bud. The anther, the head of the male reproductive part, makes pollen grains. The stigma is where pollen lands. The style of the pistil leads pollen to the ovary. So pollen will land on the stigma and then it will go down through the style into the ovary. As you can see in this figure, we have the pollen moving down to the ovary. This is the ovary that holds the ovules, the eggs. When a pollen meets an ovule, we will have a baby plant called a seed. How does a pollen move from the anther to the stigma? This process is called pollination. This part is called pollination, when pollen grains move from the anther to the stigma. This can happen by the help of the wind, like you can see in the GIF document in front of you, or by insects, like the bees. This flower shows a female reproductive part, the pistil, and it shows also stamens, which are the male reproductive parts. When a flower shows both male and female organs, we consider it as a perfect flower. So a perfect flower has both organs, the female, the girl, and the stamen, the boy. Some flowers do not show both organs. Look at the squash flower. We have male flowers with a stamen only. This is the anther. This is the anther making the pollen, and this is the filament holding the anther. We have also female squash flowers with a stigma, a style, and an ovary right here. Okay, so these flowers are considered as imperfect flowers. Since we have two different flowers, one of them is a male flower, the second one is a female flower. So the female organ, the pistil, the male organ, the stigma, the stamen, they aren't found in the same flower. They are found in two separated flowers. As you can see in this figure, this is a perfect flower showing a stamen, actually two stamens, with a pistil in the middle. Okay? Look at these two imperfect flowers. This showing a pistil with a stigma, style, and ovary. And the second one showing four stamens with their anther and filaments. So, this one is the female flower since it shows the female reproductive organ, and this one is the male the male flower since it shows male reproductive organs, four stamens. Pollination happens in perfect flower in the same flower. So pollen moves from the anther of the flower to the pistil of the same flower. While for imperfect flowers, pollination happens from one flower to another flower. Pollen moves from the anther of the male flower to the stigma of the female flower. Once the ovule and the pollen meet, we will have a seed. This seed, planted in the soil, will grow into a new plant. The plant will make a flower, the flower will make seeds, and then these seeds, when we plant them in the soil, they will grow into a new plant. Let's see, seeds, they will grow into a new plant, the plant will grow a flower, and then the flower will make seeds. The seeds in the flower, we put them in the soil, they will grow into a new plant. The plant will make flowers, and then the flower will make seeds. This is what we call the life cycle of a plant. The plant is making reproduction. It is making new copies of itself. This is the life cycle of the plant. So what should my kids know? They should know how to define the terms flowering plants and pollination. What do we mean by flowering plants? Excellent. Excellent! Plants that grow flowers. And these flowers will make seeds. So we can define flowering plants as plants that make seeds in their flowers. What about pollination? Pollination happens when pollen moves from the anther to the stigma. That's right. And pollination happens with the help of the wind or with pollinators like bees, butterflies, some birds. What are the four basic parts of a flower, guys? Yes, petals, sepals, stamen, and pistil. Petals, sepals, stamen. Stamen is made of two different parts, anther and filament. The carpel is made of three different parts, stigma, style, and ovary. What is the job of each of the parts? Let's start with the petals. Petals are colored. They have a beautiful smell to attract animals, attract insects, attract pollinators. What about the sepals, which are the leaf-like structures? Yes, they protect the flower when it's young, when it's a bud. The stamen is the male part. It's the boy that makes pollen. The pistil or the carpel is the female part that has the ovules in it. And when the ovules meet the pollen grain, we will have a baby plant called the seed. What are the stages of life of a flowering plant? First of all, we have a seed. The seed in the soil will grow into a plant. The plant will make a flower. The flower will make seed. Then the seed will grow in the soil into a new plant. The plant will grow flower. The flower will make seed. And will go again. The flower makes seeds. The seeds in the soil will turn into a new plant. And then the plant will make flowers and the flowers will make seeds. From a seed, the seed will grow into a plant. The plant grow flowers. The flowers make seeds and will go again. Sometimes, after meeting the pollen grains, the ovary turns into a fruit. The ovary turns into a fruit. Sometimes for plants that grow fruits. So where did these fruits come from? It's actually the ovary that turns into a fruit. After meeting the pollen grains, we have the seeds forming inside the ovary. This ovary will grow into a fruit. This step is called fructification. It's the act or the process of making and producing fruits. Bye bye. See you next time, dear ones.